Hello and hello everybody, my name is Lucy and welcome to Books and Brushes. So today, oh it's hot in here. When this video comes out right now, it will be the reading rush and I'll be reading hopefully all of the things. Raylene and Erin recently made an announcement that there aren't going to be any video challenges, but instead everyone has to make a reading vlog, which most people kind of do anyway. It's kind of a bummer there are no video challenges because last year I did so well at them and I had so much fun with them. I'll link one, you know, at the end when I link my two videos. One of them will be one of the challenges I did last year and I'm still quite proud of those videos from last year. Oh well, maybe I can just make up some challenges or do video challenges from days past. I don't know. Either way, I will be trying to film a reading rush vlog. I am notoriously not a vlogger. I recently did my first ever vlog, which was my moving vlog, life event. Not every day. I'm gonna give it a go and I'm gonna attempt it and we'll see what happens. I hope you're having a great reading rush time when this comes out, but this is not a reading rush related video. This is a tag that I got tagged in back in May. Yeah, May. Just getting around to it. So Kaz from Cats and Camera tagged me in this tag way back in May, and I think August is going to be my catch up on the tags I haven't done yet month, and this is the start of that. So let's do the two birds one stone book tag. The first question is the second to last book you read, and that is, hold on, La Ba. And that is A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This is not the current thing I'm reading and it was the last thing I read before that. I love this book. I don't think that's going to be a surprise to anyone. I talked about the first book in this series in my June wrap up and I'll talk about this book in my July wrap up. Love this series, love V.E. Schwab. I'm not going to say any more because it will just be a repetition. The second question is the second book up from your TBR shelf pile. I don't really have one, or I didn't, but I kind of do right now. So you can see this little stack. The second one is Reflection by Elizabeth Zim. It's going to be one of those days, huh? Reflection by Elizabeth Lim. This is one of my planned reads for the reading rush, so maybe I'm reading it right as we speak. The third question is two books that were 2-star reads. Now, I don't really do a starred rating system. In fact, for the entirety of 2020, I haven't really done a rating of any kind. Whoops, my laptop died and I lost all of my previous records and spreadsheets of the ratings I gave, and then I just kind of stopped rating books. Yikes. Which honestly, I need to get back around to doing. 2 stars kind of gives off a, it wasn't great, it wasn't the worst, but I didn't really like it kind of vibe. Let's pick 2 books that fit that. I have both of these books here, and yet I'm still going to show pictures because I really don't want to get them out of these stacks. So the first one is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I was desperate to love this book, to love this classic, and while I loved the themes and I think Mary Shelley was just a genius of her time, she wrote that book at 19, like, while I think she's amazing, the story that she created had such an impact that it just has such a renowned theming in popular culture and books to this day. And I love the Frankenstein theme. So I so wanted to love Frankenstein, but I didn't. It put me in such a slump when I read it back in November 2018. It's an old book, guys. The writing style is so filled with shit. It's so full of filler and boredom. The story just doesn't flow to me, and so it's not my favourite book, which I'd say that's a 2-star read. And the other book, All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. Love The Raven Cycle. Really disappointed by this one. It's just not what I thought. It's not what I wanted. I thought it was written brilliantly. The environment and the world building was beautiful, but I didn't care about it. I didn't care about the characters or the story, not one bit, so I was bored, and that's not really something I usually get when I read. The last thing I usually feel when I read is boredom. I thought it was a bit of a dull book, and although it was written beautifully, the setting was so visually pictured, it just didn't do it for me. I didn't care about it. So yeah, that would probably be a 2-star. Question 4 is 2 great books from the same author. Now, I could pick many things here, but I think I know what I'm gonna do because it's the first one that popped into my mind, and that is Victoria Schwab, my new love. So I'm gonna pick the Savage Song duology and the Dark Shade of Magic series. V.E. Schwab is so quickly becoming one of my favourite authors, and it's just every single book I read more from her, the more and more I love her writing, the more and more I love her stories and her world. And it's one thing to create an out of this world amazing love it series, and it's another just to keep doing it and just do so many different things. It blows my mind, honestly, that V.E. Schwab can pick out these amazingly different but equally beautiful stories that I just love all of them. This Savage Song and A Dark Shade of Magic, completely different in style and world, and yet I love them both. The worlds are so wildly different but each so magical and dark in their own ways, and I just can't believe she can churn out so much magic, so many different things. This woman is the last thing from a one-trick pony. I can't wait to read everything else she ever releases. Question 5 is 2 bails, or DNFs I suppose, slash books you hated, slash books you wish you DNF'd. There was a lot of words there, but I hope you got the gist. So basically 2 books I hated, or wish I'd have stopped reading. And I have 2 very specific books here, and I've talked about one of them a bit. Haven't talked about the other at all, I think, which is funny. So the first book, which I don't know if I've ever mentioned my hatred for this book before, but here we are, and that is The Lovely Bones by, I don't care, Alice Sebold or something, I don't know. Now, I will preface this. I read this book for my English Lang Lit course when I was in college, and I didn't like it. I got amazing results and marks on my essays for it, but that's because I'm great at talking out my arsehole. Oh, my English teachers loved me. I could have a book I hated and yet make these creative comparisons of how this would compare to this and the theming, and they loved all the shit I'd churn out, and it was great. Essentially all the courses I took in college were, can you churn bullshit with words? My answers were yes. English Lang Lit, media studies, fine art, and drama and theatre studies. All creative topics that you have to talk about with their themes. Use creative language to chat shit, and I was great at it. And that was my strength. For one of the courses I read The Lovely Bones, and I hated it so much. Bearing in mind this was a fair few years ago now, I could go back to this book, reread it, and be like, oh my god, what was I thinking? Maybe it was because I had to study this book and analyse it that it ruined the experience of reading it for me or something. I don't know. If you haven't read The Lovely Bones, essentially what it is on page 1, hi, my name is Susie, and I was taken by a paedophile and chopped up into 100 pieces. Literally, that's pretty much the first page. Go read it, I'm not wrong. And then the rest of the book is boring. My mother used to tuck me into sleep one night and there was rubber duckies and blah blah blah. So boring. Page 1 is this horrendously graphic account of a little girl's abduction and murder. Another, you can imagine. Basically, a paedophile stole a little girl, did things, and then killed her and chopped her up and hid her, and no one ever knew what happened to the girl. So the beginning, the first chapter, is so graphic and gross and horrific. And I don't mind that. I love the horror stuff in books and TV and media and whatever. But then the rest of the book was just so boring. Like, the rest of the book is the family trying to cope after the little girl's gone. It's as boring as anything. My mum just talks about how she used to tuck her in for bedtime, and there's nothing to it. The book could have been a deep exploration of grief, how you can't move on if you don't know what happened, missing person. It could have been such an amazing, beautiful account and a horrific story. Instead, it was just gross and dull, which are 2 things that shouldn't go together. And yeah, then there was this weird, like, magical realism element. I don't want to spoil crap, but then again, I don't care about this book anyway. So she like kind of goes into the body of this boy she liked or something. It was a long time ago since I read it, and I've tried to purge it from my mind, but it's weird. It doesn't really explain what she does or why or how, or like Susie's a spirit and she like takes over someone's body and then things happen, and it's just weird. It's weird. It makes no sense. I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was stupid. And then I had to write this essay about how great it was. Yeah, I did not like that book. Like I said, I read it a long time ago though, so maybe I'd like it if I reread it now, but I'm not going to reread it now. So I think that's just my opinion on that book for life, unless someone can change my mind and convert me to reread it. That's the first book. And the second book, yeah, it is pretty close to the top of the stack. I'll actually get this one. And that is Matched by Ali Condé. Ugh. I didn't like this book. I'll give this book the credit that before I read it, I read Delirium by Lauren Oliver. Here you go. This one's much prettier anyway. I read Delirium, and it is still to this day one of my favourite series. It is that staple that I read when I was a teenager, and it holds up. It's a beautiful trilogy. If you've never read it, it's got an amazing lyrical writing style, such a textured, in-depth world, a dystopian story that's so incredible with characters you'll you'll love. It's a great series, just perfect. It's amazing. And after I read that series, I read it, like reread it 3 times in a row, and then I heard of another book called Matched, which had a similar element. I thought, oh, maybe this book will do something similar and also be great. No, you just got flattened, didn't you? The similar thread is that the girls don't have a choice in who they marry, and in both of these societies they get matched up with who they will marry, and you don't have a choice in it. It's not about love, you just get matched up by like a personality test or whatever. And this book, I read it. Can I tell you a single thing that happened in it? Probably not. A couple of days after I read this book, I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened in it. It was so forgettable and boring, and nothing happened. No plot points. Where was the plot? I can't remember any of the characters. None of them were interesting. The only interesting element I remember was they had like these antiques, like her and her little brother or something. They each had an artifact from their grandparents that you like passed down, and it was like the one thing she was allowed to take with her or something. That's literally the only detail I remember from the book, by thinking, huh, that's kind of cool. And that was it. Nothing else. I just was so thoroughly disappointed that nothing happened, and I understand that this book had a lot of competition to live up to. It was going up against Delirium, but still nothing happened. The coolest thing about this book is the cover. The cover's pretty cool. The girl in that dress and the bubble, that's pretty cool, but the book was dull. Nothing happened. And the funny thing is, after I read this book, I decided, nope, definitely not reading the rest of the series. Hell no to that. And then I read a bunch of reviews for the next book in the series that said it's more boring and less happens. How? According to these reviews, the second book, nothing happens, even slower, there's even less plot, and people were annoyed the second one wasn't as good. And I'm like, wait, nothing happened in the first one. The first one was dull. How could the second one be duller? Were the pages blank? I'm sorry, I'm ripping this book and I feel mean, but it wasn't good, folks. This one, it always hovers in my mind, and I still have this book and I need to unhaul it or something. It's one of the very few books I have that I look at it like this. I don't like you. You were bad. No, let's put that down. I don't often talk about books I hate, and there's very few books I really don't like. And those are 2 of those books. I'm gonna add a couple. Question 6, let's uplift this. 2 of my favourite reads so far. Only 2? I've read so many good books so far this year. There's so many and I don't want to leave the good ones out. You're really tying my hands here, but I'm gonna say this Savage Song by Victoria Schwab and the Shadow of the Fox trilogy. I don't care, it's a trilogy, I'm using it. The Shadow of the Fox trilogy by Julie Kagawa. There's a bunch of other honourable mentions. 6 of Crows, Dry, Darker Shade of Magic, and I'm leaving out loads more, but those are the 2 I picked. They are amazing, don't regret it. Question 7, 2 new favourite booktubers. Now, I've been looking at loads more booktubers recently, and only 2 is a difficult thing to do. Here are literally the latest ones that I subscribe to. First of all, I have Books Are My Social Life. I found him and I love him. He's so funny. He is like my spirit. He says things that I'm just like, yes, same, all the time. And I love his reading taste. I'm glad I'm subscribed to him. And the second one is Cassidy Marie. So I know Cassidy from the lovely author Jenna Moresi. I am in her Discord group. I'm actually in her TSS Street team, and which is such a fun honour, and it's so fun to be in that Discord. And Cassidy is also in that Discord, so I kind of found out about her through there and went and watched some of her videos. And I love her. She loves to write, she loves to read, she's funny as hell. Her lighting is the bomb. As soon as I saw her vlog where instead of making the tea or coffee that every booktuber makes, she made a margarita, I knew I was in the right place. She's high energy chaos and I'm here for it. Question 8 is a book you've read twice. Now, I thought a lot about this one. There's a lot of books I've read hundreds of times, maybe not hundreds, but so many times. And then there's books I've read once and only once. And there seems to be very little variation in the middle, which I found quite interesting in introspection. But I really wanted to do this by the book, and I tried to pick a book I've literally read only twice. So it's a book I've thought to read more than once, but it's not a book I love so much that I've read it over and over and over. Harder than it sounds, but at least it was easier to narrow down. And I picked the book Peggy and Me by Miranda Hart. Go away, train. I read this back in 2018 in the summer, and I had such a fun, wholesome time reading it. And then last year I picked it up again and read it because I just wanted something light and I wanted the realism. I just wanted to read it again, so I did. And this is one of the few books that I've read specifically twice. Maybe I'll read it again. Who knows? Maybe I'll read it again for the reading rush, because it's pretty short and I could probably fly through it. Maybe I could read it outside. My wheels are turning. Anyway, question 9 is pick 2 fabulous quotes from books I've read recently. memory. See, you asked this question as if I have a memory. I tried going through some of the books I've read recently looking for quotes and then died of the heat and the uncomfortableness of sitting on this floor and decided, do you know what? Self-care. And decided not to put myself through that right now. And in editing, what I'm going to do, I'll put some nice little music on, have a lovely little quote for you to read so you don't have to hear it through my annoying voice. It'll be great. Editing me, go. Beautiful. I'm assuming I did it. And question 10 is the tagging phase of every tag, where you tag booktubers, and this one must be divisible by 2. You did notice the theme of this tag, I hope. They're all like to do with 2s. See, a lot of the booktubers I know personally have kind of already done this tag, I think, and the others probably wouldn't. If you are watching this and you want to do this tag, please feel free to do this tag. It would be fun to spread on, but I'm going to pick just 2 random booktubers that I love personally. Maybe they'll do it. Who knows? So I'll pick Matthew from Matthew Reads and Writes because he's my best booktube friend, and I'm just going to throw it out there. Brandon Scott. I love Brandon. Maybe he'll get around to this tag, maybe he won't. But there you go, 2 booktubers that could do this tag. Thank you so much for watching this tag. I hope you enjoyed. Expect many filled tags. I will be catching up on all the tags in August, and I think I might even create one of my own. What will it be? Find out. Please like this video. It really does help me out, and write in the comments down below. Let's have a chat. What is your least favourite book? Let's get into the tea. What do you hate? And share your ranty thoughts. Go ahead, feel free, purge. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.